Hello, thank you very much for tuning into this week's section of reads. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. This should be on the YouTube channel James13 Wicca, just in case you're seeing it somewhere else. What else was I going to say? The cards and dice that's listed below. I think that's pretty much what I got for you. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. With no further ado, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Capricorn. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Capricorn? Wow. The Wheel of Fortune's showing up, and it seems to be very good for you. In my brain, there's a stereotype that earth signs, and you're an earth sign, don't care for the Wheel of Fortune, but like this might be one of those times where I might be wrong. Typically, like the Wheel of Fortune is things out of control, things left up to chance, luck, whatever you have. Normally, I would say that earth signs, and you're an earth sign, are kind of like, no, I need to know that this is going to work out. I'm not leaving it up to chance. I'm putting my hard work into it. But I think the reason the Wheel of Fortune is welcome is because I think something was stuck. And there's been a long period of like, nothing. So if it gets me unstuck from a place that I don't want to be in, well, if that's what it takes, whatever gets me out of here. I'm like, all right, I'm over this. I want out of it. So all right, let's just do it and see what happens next. And I think that's why it's a welcome energy. You also are very much you're loving it, but I'm getting that you're also kind of like, yeah, but nothing's going to drag me down the hill. Nothing's going to take me anywhere I don't want to go. Just because I like this, just because it came out of nowhere, doesn't mean it controls me. It doesn't own me. It doesn't have the ability to make me do anything. I will do what I want. I'm simply enjoying it for what it is at the moment. Because of what I was doing. I feel like I was very bored, and I'm like, all right, I'll take this. I'll go with this. I keep getting something about new neighbors. I don't know where that's coming from. But it's kind of like, Capricorn, in my opinion, and there's a lot of Capricorns in my family, if Capricorn gets to a point where they feel like they need to say something, they're going to say something. And they're not going to, the Capricorns I've known don't really yell and scream. They just like, this is what it is, and I'm not kidding. And they just have that weight behind their words that they're not kidding. I don't know why I'm putting that in there. So it's like, if you need to, you're like, I can shut this down if I need to. I'm not really worried about it. I'm learning a lot about the situation too. It reminds me of like starting a new show, and it's kind of like the first couple episodes seem pretty good, but it's kind of like I'm understanding how dynamics work, what this show's really about, what characters do get along with what characters don't actually get along and just act like they do. It's not dragging me down the hill. I keep getting that too. So like, what am I supposed to be saying about that? Like, it may want to run down the hill. It may want to pull me down the hill very fast, but I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'll catch up to you. You do what you got to do. I'm going to take my time getting down this hill. If you want to hang out with me as I go down the hill, that's fine, but I'll set my own pace. I'm good. I don't feel even challenged with that. I don't feel like anybody's trying to like, come on, Capricorn, we need to run down the hill. I don't see that even happening. I feel like I'm going to be walking down the hill, and they're like, okay. And then they're just either matching it, or they're maybe running down and running up and doing what they do. But I feel like they're not trying to push your energy. They're not trying to like make you do something you don't want to do. I don't see that happening at all. And I feel like I'm observing like whatever they're doing, either they're matching your pace, or they could be all over the place, and they keep checking back with you, and they keep bringing you information. If it's the latter, where they're kind of running all over the place and they're bringing you back information, I feel like I'm just getting to know how this energy works, and I'm paying attention. Like, all right, this is what they do. Do they honor what I do? Is this compatible? Are we kind of a match? Does this make sense? Even though they're kind of crazy all over the place, Do they have some stability there? Do they at least honor boundaries? If they honor boundaries, even though they may be a little bit crazy compared to how I live my life, as long as they honor boundaries, we might be able to work with this. I don't know if I showed this. I think I said it, but it does not have to be literal. It does not have to be a literal romantic interest. It could be anything. A job coming in, a friendship, neighbors, like I said, coming in out of nowhere, a really good connection. I feel like I'm enjoying it right off the bat because I feel like there's going to be some people going, oh, I don't want romance. If you don't want it, I don't think this is what that's going to be for, because whatever it is, you're enjoying it, you seem to be ready for it, you seem to be open to it. So, for example, maybe you're looking for a secondary job, or maybe there's some family function or something that you're already connected to going into the next level that you're going to be included into. Could be anything like that. Feels good. And again, this is another reason, like, the Ace of Cups is showing up how you feel about it. Like, it seems to be welcome, and it also seems to be feeling like you have control over how much you will or won't be a part of it. And it's kind of like, when I say you have control, it's not like you have to decide right now. It's like, I'm going to set it at 4 and we're just going to leave it there. I feel like it's kind of like you have your hand on the dial, and it's like 1 is like we're barely moving, 0 is not moving. And 10 is like we're just sprinting through the whole thing. If you want to go faster, you'll go faster. If you want to go slower, you'll go slower. And I feel like you have control about how much or how little you connect to this, which I feel like I also is really kind of like, I feel like your energy is being respected in this situation. Like, I don't think anybody's being ridiculous or falling over themselves or anything like that. Like, oh, Capricorn, I don't think they're doing that. But you know what I mean? They seem to understand, like, this will probably work for Capricorn, that probably won't. Don't cross this boundary. Realize, there's a certain way you talk to Capricorn. There's a certain, like this, a certain that. They seem to catch on fairly quickly with it. Seems like it's a decent connection. I like it. They also might be familiar. You're probably not the first person with this energy before. Like, what are we talking about? Like, they've come across people that are like you before. Like, there's a certain way you handle things. You don't push. You respect how it is. You go with the value of it. Doesn't have to mean that it was a literal Capricorn in the past, but they have something where this type of connection is something they know how to handle respectfully. Am I missing something with that? They also know, just because it starts off well doesn't mean anything's set in stone, but they also do seem to think there'll be a tipping point where, there'll be a tipping point where it's like, this is going to snap in and probably build, or this will break and there'll be nothing from it. So they seem to be looking at this situation like, this is like you understanding what they're about, what's happening here, the flavor of the situation, if you really like it or not. They don't take it for granted that you're just going to stick with it. They seem to look at this like you're deciding whether you actually truly like the situation or not. You seem to be in that deciding energy. They also think that you're going to like them. They think you're going to. But they also realize just because you may like them as a person doesn't mean you're going to stick with the situation. There's a lot of levels and a lot of different angles you're going to look at before you make your final decision if you will or will not be a part of the situation. I keep seeing somebody going through like a training class or like, something like that where you're just starting a new job. And I feel like this is one of those things where I can go on to something else fairly easily if I decide that, this isn't what I thought it was. And they seem to look at you that way. If you don't feel like the situation is going to respect you, you know what to do to get yourself out of it. But there will be a tipping point. What is it? Is there something about the tipping point I'm not saying that I need to say? Judgment will happen at some. They do seem to want to win you over, but there's also like they can't just win you over and then it can't be like we show you all the good stuff and then we win you over and then okay, we don't have to worry about it. It reminds me of people when they go dating and they date somebody who's very much into dancing and going out and doing this and doing that, and then they get married and they're like, I don't really want to do that anymore. They know that that's not going to work. If they're going to win you over by dinner and dancing, that's expected to continue after you've made your final decision. So if that's just for like something they're doing to woo you, it's not going to work. It's going to sink the ship in the long run because whatever they're doing to win you over, they need to sustain that and keep that if they expect this connection to work. Are we good? Okay. They have every intention to do that too, by the way. I'm seeing that. That moment is coming. That moment of judgment is coming. Whatever that means for you, I don't know if this is a fair analogy. Take it however you need to take it. It's kind of like, all right, we're going to give birth to something, but am I going to give this child up for adoption, or am I going to raise it myself? That just seems to be where we are. Or another option, am I going to raise it with this person or by myself? There's whatever. The energy moving forward from this point on, like it's coming, it seems like it's approaching fairly quickly. So like I was using that analogy of going down the hill or running down the hill, you're just walking. You get to the bottom of the hill sooner or later. I feel like if I'm using that analogy, you know when you're at the bottom of the hill. You know where you're, all right, we're all, everything's flat here, so we're at the bottom of the hill. You're going to know when it's approaching. I don't think that's going to come up on you by accident. I feel like you're going to clearly know when you're getting close to it. Why is this like a stress point? It could be a stress point, but why? Five of Cups and the Lover's card again. Because life doesn't have guarantees. And even though you very easily know that, the situation does make you nervous. It was good to this point. It's been really good up to this point. But I also know this person or situation wants me to like them. That's a factor. They want me to like them. Once I've committed to this, what's going to happen then? Does this energy stay or not? You have to make the decision yourself, clearly. There's going to be a moment of stress either way. It doesn't matter what I say. Because I feel like I'm addressing that, and I'm like, this is hard for me. And I feel like what would help is looking at it in the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year way. At least that's what I call it. If I go this path, how do I feel 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? If I go this other path, how do I feel in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? I feel like that'll give you your answer in a fairly simple way. Because whatever the situation is, it's been a dry spell for whatever it was. Work, business, could be romance, whatever it is. It's been a dry spell for quite a while, whatever it was. And it's kind of like, if I go back to that, is that what I want? If I try to make this happen, I do have the potential to make this work. Do I want to do that? How do I think it's going to work out in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? I feel like you'll have enough of an idea to make a educated decision on that. Because I feel like whatever the situation is, be it person or whatever, I do feel like you've got a lot of the history of that situation or person. You have attained a lot of it. So I feel like I can look back and be like, this is how they typically go with this. This is how they typically go with that. Even though I'm a different person, they do have their patterns, and I think I've seen them. Why is that coming in that way? It's good. Like, I understand that it's good. You have to make your decision. I don't think this reading is designed to make a decision for you. I mean, I don't know if they're usually anyway, but the unexpected is like, there's no answer. There's what makes you happy. Their whole purpose of this reading is to get you to that point, and to, like, hopefully if this reading hits at the right time, to start really early, to start even earlier with that process. So just say it was romance, just for argument's sake. It doesn't have to be. But you just met somebody. You're just starting. Maybe you just met them 2 weeks ago. Already start the process where you start thinking to yourself, If this is do I want to see this situation continue in 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years? It may be really early in the situation, but when you're asking yourself these questions, there's going to be certain, like, but I don't know about this, and I don't know about this, and I don't know about that, in which you'll have the time as you keep moving forward to keep looking out for that information and, like, have convenient points of interest where it's like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we could have a conversation about that. Oh, this is interesting, and the conversation's coming up anyway. Maybe I can get some of the questions I want answered during this conversation. It just makes it easier for you to get all of the backup lined up behind you, so you can make that educated decision that much easier. And by the time you get to the end of the hill there, where you're back at flat ground, you'll be like, you probably already know what you want a lot easier. It can be a lot easier for you. That's the point. And this is meant to make the situation a lot more smoother for you, but so that way, when you're nearing the end of this hill, you're like, I already know what I'm going to do with it. I already made up my mind what I'm going to do with it. There's not really going to be a moment where I have to sit here and question it. I know what path I'm going to choose. I'm just going to let that information come forward, and I'm going to go on the path that I've already decided I want. I see good energy here. The cards are here, so I'm assuming I'm supposed to show. I see good energy here. I don't feel like there's a bad, what do you call it, outcome? I don't think there's a bad outcome. There's loyalty to you and you deciding what you want. Whether you choose to continue with this situation or not, if you decide you want it, I feel like things are going to go really well. This situation seems to be in the era of, like, they need to rise up to meet you, and it works. It seems to be fine. If you choose a different direction, but whatever this is, you're like saying, no, this isn't for me. I feel like it, like, clears something out. And when it clears this energy out, it opens up space for something new to take its place. So I don't feel like there's a bad outcome here, as long as you're going into it ready, educated, and ready to make your decision. Especially if by the time you get to the end, like, you get to that point of the hill, it's like it's over. You've already made up your mind. You already had everything lined up. You are maybe, like, could be like halfway down, 3/4 of the way down. You knew exactly where you wanted to go. You're just waiting for it to play out like it needs to. It just makes it that much easier and that much more enjoyable. I see that there's a really good option at the end. No matter what option you go with, I just feel like being ready for it and letting it smoothly go, it just makes it so easy. And I feel like whatever's gonna come next is just that much smoother. Is there something I'm supposed to say that I'm not? I think I'm good. I think I'm just yammering on a little bit too long. So I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.